All right, folks, we're back at it, and we're going to be working on the You Do It exercises in Chapter 2. And you can see I have my ebook up on the screen here. And, you know, in days past, normally I would just copy and paste from the book and drop in, but you guys see that it brings a citation with it, so I actually have to type. And I've been like at this all day since the wee hours of the morning. So we'll see how my fingers are. No, it's not that bad. All right, so all right, let's not get too conversational here. All right, let's take a look at this exercise here. And basically the point of it is learning how to work with variables. So we're going to create a new class, and I'm going to see if I can kind of sort of split screen it here a little bit. Just kind of try to arrange things to be a little more efficient. Now, those of you that use multiple screens at home or in the classroom, and unfortunately we're not in our regular classrooms right now, but we do have two giant screens. It's really a good idea as a coder to go with multiple screens so that you can have code here, reference materials, you know, video playing over there. Or if you have a setup like me at home, I'm doing like 3 screens. Yes, it seems ridiculous. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but it is the best way to work. That's right. All right, so let's start out by creating a new Java project. And we're going to just follow right along with what they're doing. So we're going to do a public lowercase. This is data demo. Opening and closing curlies. We'll put in our main method. Have you guys memorized this stuff yet?
Yes.
Sting. More curlies. And then the next thing they want us to do is create an integer called a whole number. So let's do that. Okay, so we declared an integer, gave it a name, we gave it a value. Next thing we're going to do, and you're going to see that this is kind of a common theme here, we are going to show a few different techniques. And some of the techniques you might, catch onto this so quickly that you're like, why are they bothering to do that? And really what they're trying to do is demonstrate techniques as they're going. You guys can see I have a hard time typing and talking at the same time. So one of the fun things to do as you're working with code is to try to predict what's going to happen before you even run the program, especially when you're looking at somebody else's code. So it's going to do a system out print, and that's going to do a system out print line. So what's the output going to look like? Right, all on one line. Right. Let's go ahead and run it. Now remember, when I hit the run button, it compiles, or it saves it, compiles, and then executes it if possible. Picks up. Now here is where we want to actually change folders, because I do want to have a chapter 2. And where's the new folder command here? Gosh, don't you hate that? I'm just going to jump out the windows before I figure it out in JGrasp. Cindy Lou, that's way too easy. Okay, so we are now in the Chapter 2 You Do It folder. And now I'm going to go ahead and save it. All right. and I'm going to run it. Okay, and that's what we predicted, right? Okay, good. Very simple little example. I do ask for them, yes. That's a pretty easy one to screenshot. You know, and if I was screenshotting it, you guys, what I would do is I would try to make these windows as small as I could, and then I would just grab a screenshot like that and get both the code and the program running at the same time. And since it's a really simple one at this point, here's you do it page whatever, or you do it number 1, or whatever it is. The other thing that I like to see in those screenshots, and I always say add a little narrative to it, especially if you had fun doing it, or this was really hard but I figured it out and I was so happy, or oh my god, I worked on this for 6 hours and I got nowhere, help. I'm hoping to get an email from you in that situation. But it is that kind of stuff that's helpful for me. It's a communication mechanism. So whether it's positive or negative, if you just want to say this is the first you do it, there it is, that's fine too. All right. All right, now they're pointing out here where you can go to get information on Java 8. I'm not going to do that here at this point in time. You guys can follow those instructions and do that. But the point is that there is this website from Oracle, thank you, where you can look up methods and what they do. And it'll give you a little bit of a breakdown. Now, the ones that we're using right now are pretty primitive. But when you start doing really advanced things in a language, there is no way you're going to know what all of them do. That's the point of this, to get you in the habit of knowing where to go and where to look stuff up. Because, like, is this the method I want to use? Oh, no. There's one that's related to it that's going to do exactly what I need. Or if I want it to do what I need, these are the things I have to do with it. Because you're going to learn that some methods you can throw in different types of arguments. Some methods will take multiple arguments. Some will only take one. And that will break everything down and tell you how it works. All right. This next little thing that we're going to do, and you can see they're working on the command line, whatever. You guys don't have to do that. But here they're going to show you what happens when we run the program without assigning a value to the integer. Because we created the box, we gave it a name, we said what can go in it, we just never put anything in it. So what's in it? Christian says nothing. All right. So let's run it again. And notice how it does throw an error, line 7, right where it is, because it doesn't know what to do with that. And notice the error message that it gives might not have been initialized. In other words, we did not give it a value. We did not put something in there. It does not like that. All right, so now in this next one, we're going to add a constant to the program. And we probably want to set this back to 315 so we don't get errors. But we're going to add a constant in the form of an int, once again. And this one is states in US. Now, the book does talk about these naming conventions, and we did say in one of the previous lecture components how the convention is all uppercase for constants. But there are also naming rules for variables. Like, for example, one of the rules is can't start with a number. All right, so we did that step. Then we're going to do this system out print line. We're just going to add it to the bottom here. And this one's demonstrating a couple of concepts, namely that in an output statement, we can combine a variable or a constant with a string to do the output. And if we were doing this in Canada, we'd say provinces in Canada. And I totally misspoke that, but that's okay. So once you have it, give it a run. Hopefully you get no errors, and this is what your output should be. Now, I know these are very simplistic examples for now, but believe me, it'll ramp up quickly. Now, I'm flying through the chapter, of course, because we already lectured on all the topics. Now we're going to move to this one where we start to compare the data types. This is kind of a cool one because you can see how these work. And I'm afraid that that's all we'll be able to get through tonight with the time that we have left. All right, so let's go ahead and build it. Let's create a new Java file. And it's going to be called integer demo. And the next thing they want us to do is do these 4 declarations. So I'm just going to move this off to the side here. And you know what, we were throwing around that question earlier about could I declare these variables maybe, here in this spot? Yeah, you could. It's not really considered good practice in this case, though. Now you can see that we're using all these different numeric data types. And we're giving them all the same value, and there's kind of method to the madness here, which you're going to see as we get to the next page. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a series of system out print lines, and you can anticipate what it's going to say. You guys might be able to type this faster than me, so if so, go ahead. No, I'm not typing exactly what they're doing. But the point is basically the same. Careful what you name things. Well, you guys didn't even catch me making a mistake. Okay, as they're doing this, they have kind of an intent in the book as to why they're having to do this, and that's really kind of to see how the data types operate. I'm going to go and correct my spelling here. Integer. It's an integer. Now keep in mind, ints, bytes, shorts, and longs are all integers. They're all whole counting numbers. It's all about the amount of capacity they have to hold values. So all of them will output the same way. Now it says change each assigned value from 12 to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then run it again. Any guesses as to what's going to happen before I run it? Yeah, this is more than what a byte can hold, so we should see an error. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change this one, and I think the book says the same thing, back to something it can hold. It will hold that. All right, and then they want us to go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think you guys can anticipate here, we're basically trying to make things break. And honestly, that's a really good way to see what the capacities are. All right, now here's where it gets interesting. When we work with the long, I'm not sure how many digits that is, but it's a lot of digits. It's pretty close. We'll add one. Apparently that's too large. Yeah, why is that? So it says replace the value of a long with this, and I'm counting, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 14 characters. And it shows you. Now watch what we have to do to make it work. See this? I know, that seems really weird, right? That is weird. You don't see that in other languages. Not, well, at least not like this. Okay. So we work with very, very long values, and we're working with the long data type. You got to put that L at the end in order for it to work. And you'll know because it won't work, basically. So, and I think that, all right, so they're carrying on with the example here. So now they're going to have us take and declare another integer, and you can do it at the top. You can actually do it right in position too. And let's see what they're calling it. Another int. And here we're going to be multiplying the first int times, what is that, 10 million? So what's going to be the output here? Is this going to work? I mean, you can pretty much anticipate it's going to be an error already, right? Oh, it worked. Bless you. Now we're probably not using the same exact values here. So I'm tweaking a little bit to kind of force it to make mistakes. But notice that in their example, it says, because the arithmetic result was too large, some information about the value has been lost. So it's not actually calculating correctly, is what it's telling you. So if you look at this number here, and we're multiplying basically times 1 with a bunch of zeros, it really, at the very least, should start with this and then have a bunch of zeros after it, right? That's really the actual math. But it's giving us something completely different, which is indicating to you that we're kind of breaking the data types. So one thing that you got to be careful of when you're doing numeric calculations in a program is you have pre-anticipated what the actual results should be. With a calculator, pencil and paper, go into Excel or whatever it is to anticipate what those values are. Never just take the word of the program that it's working correctly, because here we are breaking the constructs. No, that is not a logical error. That is an error that's happening because we're basically exceeding the capacity of an integer data type. Right, but it's not because our logic was flawed. I see what you're saying, yeah. So in a sense, it is a logic error because we are not using the right data types to get the answers that we need. All right, that's going to wrap our code demo for tonight. I'm sure you guys are more than capable of working through the rest of the U-Do-Its. When we reconvene next week, we're going to press through and work on the exercises in Chapter 2 and get those done because we've already done all the lecturing. So I'm hoping next week is nothing but coding, which will be cool. So I'll see you guys then.